Ping! This Hangout on Air is live. Awesome. Thank you all for tuning in to my PaulCast. It's been a minute. It's been a little while since my last one. I'm very excited about my co-host this week, and I see that Joshua is already in the chats. Hi, Joshua. But to get things started, I'm going to start off by playing my theme song. And that's enough of that.
I do love that theme song.
My friends who are jazz musicians do that. Are that combo? Are that band right there, the Bitter Dose Combo, based out of Washington D.C. And I specifically asked the head of the band, Matt Henry, if I could use their music on all my videos, basically. And he said, "Yeah, cool. That'd be great. Just link to us." And so I do, and awesome. It works out.
That is awesome.
It is awesome. So. Yeah. Again, I think this is my first PaulCast of 2016. I'm very excited to be back. Please welcome my wonderful co-host. I'm going to point over to you.
Hello. I don't know. Does the screen switch? It hasn't switched on my screen. I don't know how it works.
It is switched to you. You are now on screen.
Okay, cool. I'll just trust you. Hi guys, I'm Bunny. Am I supposed to introduce myself?
Please do. Yes.
Okay, I'm Bunny. Well, it used to be Bookish Bunny, but now it is Be by Bunny. It's a whole changeover of things, but I'm a YouTuber and blogger and do all that kind of good stuff. And I think we've got some interesting topics we want to talk about tonight. So I'm really, really stoked because I haven't done a live show in like 2 years or something crazy. So this is going to be good.
I agree. This is going to be a blast. All right.
Definitely.
Oh my goodness!
All right.
I'm going to start off by just describing what I know about you. In the description for this video, I have links to your Be by Bunny vlog, and I have links to your vlog channel. And I know you as a Canadian-British lifestyle blogger and vlogger. You talk about feminism, aesthetics, books, androgyny, chronic illness, mental health, how all of that and more affects your work and your personal life. Is that about right?
Totally, you got me spot on there. Pretty much spot on. Yeah, and I guess I talk a lot about like geek stuff, music, fashion, beauty, all like the normal lifestyle blogging stuff as well. But yeah, quite a few things there.
Yes, and I like the fact that you have so many things going on your channel and in your vlog. Sometimes I feel like I am one of the few ones who talks about such a wide range of things, but then you are there on the same team as I am, which is convenient.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and so many people limit themselves and will start like a second channel to talk about certain things or a second blog, and like I've just always been like, throw it all in one place. It's all me, like it's all just what I'm interested in. So go with it.
I mean, I feel the same way. Now I discovered you as I think you were just starting to expand from being a booktuber to a more general vlogger. I remember I saw your video about, was it Dear Girls?
Right, that was it. That was what you discovered me with. Yeah, my first sort of semi-scripted, ranty, feministy video, yeah.
That was awesome. Had that been building up? Had that been building up for a while, or was that just kind of a spur of the moment thing?
Definitely had been building up, but then I spotted like a Dear Girls trend on Twitter. And it really was only like a few people pushing this trend. Like it wasn't a huge hashtag trending topic thing, but there's just so many ridiculous points being made with like, Dear Girls, do this, not that, blah, blah, blah. Like I can't even remember the points, but it was so sickening to me. And I was like, nah, not having any of it. One of them was like, Dear girls, stop sitting in sinks to take your photos. I'm like, okay, I remember girls doing that in like the MySpace days, what I was just talking about, like the 2004 scene MySpace days. But I haven't seen a girl do that for a long time. So I remember I just like filmed a clip of like me sitting in the sink, like, is this good? Like, yeah, I don't know. Awesome. It definitely had built up though. And like I had been slowly becoming more and more of a feminist, like actually calling myself one. I'd always been interested in feminism my whole life because my mum always taught me about it and stuff, and my dad, but you know, my mum was quite vocal about it, and but I just finally became confident enough in my knowledge of it to actually speak about it on YouTube, you know.
That's awesome. I mean, I think that a lot of people, especially a lot of people who are younger, do in fact believe in lots of feminist ideals, but not all of them realize that that's how they should label themselves.
Yes, exactly. And they don't know like the whole idea of intersectionality, and they call it, like, there's so many people who call themselves anti-feminists and say I'm an anti-feminist because I'm just an equalist or whatever the fuck they call themselves. It's like, oh, don't you get, it's not about raising women higher, it's about the equality and the fact it's called feminism because women have always been lower. So to make the equality, we need to raise them higher, right? Like, it just makes sense to me. And in the end, what's in a name? Like, does it really matter what it's called? As long as we all agree that we need to be equal and have equal rights, like, who cares what it's called?
That's certainly the most important part. But you know, the backlash against the label can be hurtful toward the movement. If somebody's associated with the feminist movement and their label is attacked, then they can't get the bills passed that they need to get passed. They can't get the awareness that need to get.
Yeah, 100%. I personally, I quite happily take on the label, and I do believe, like, in the end, the name doesn't matter, but I do think the name is very important in having a I can't think of the word, just having like an identity with it and being able to identify with it, and, you know, call yourself a feminist is empowering to actually have a name to call yourself in relation to these ideas and, you know, ideals.
I absolutely agree. Agree. So the Dear Girls video is when I first kind of discovered who you were. Now, prior to that, had you been like 100% booktube on YouTube?
Pretty much. And the only way I started booktubing, I think my very first video was a why you should give books for Christmas video. And it was just this random inspiration I had. And I say it's my first video. I had been YouTubing for a long time beforehand. I actually had a channel for a while, sort of journaling my experience trying to get into the Disney College program, the internship program. And I did get into it. Like, I was on to the final stages, but then we decided to move back to Wales and I couldn't do it anymore because I had to leave uni. I wouldn't be going back to uni the next year, and you have to be going back in order to do the program. And because of the move, it just wasn't going to work. And it was such a shame. But I did have that channel chronicling that, and I got quite a decent amount of views from it and stuff, but nothing like, I didn't really have subscribers. I just had people who searched like advice for the interview and stuff, the phone interview, and they'd find my video. And before, or either after or before, no, after that, I did have kind of like a vlogging channel, where I used a little Sony bloggy camera. Do you remember
that's
those?
Great.
Yeah, the little bloggies. And that was when I first moved over here. That was towards the end of like just after the Disney College program thing, like moving from Canada to here. I basically journaled a bit of that in video form and made a few sort of just day in the life, you know, vlogs. But that never really took off. And then I ended up making the book video. And suddenly, because people love BookTube, I ended up with 100 subscribers in like a few days or a week or something. And then 1,000 in less than a month. And it just grew so quickly. And that's what made me really, really get into it and get passionate about it. And obviously the growth has slowed down now because that's just what happens with YouTube. And the longer YouTube exists, the harder it is to become noticed and get subscribers. But
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's my whole YouTube story. It's that's
so interesting. I didn't know.
An interesting one.
I didn't know about your vlogging the Disney internship program, and I didn't know about your vlogging your travel from Canada to Wales. So those are both new bits of information to me.
Yeah, the channels are now private, entirely private, or deleted. I can't remember. They are just hidden from the world. I remember in one of the videos, I was just basically showing how my accent was changing over the course of the first 2 days of getting back here. And like, it was just me like saying words and being like, well, there we go, words. Like certain words I say Britishly, and certain ones I say Welsh, and certain ones I say Canadianly. And like, yeah, the whole video was just me like speaking.
Oh, you should at least make that video listed again, because that could be really interesting. That could be fun to watch.
I wish I could. I'm not sure if I can find it. I don't know what my email address was at the time, or
Oh,
I can't even remember. You know what I mean? I remember making everything private at least, but who knows where it is in the internet ether now.
Who knows? It's hard to tell.
Oh.
So do you ever miss the booktubing lifestyle?
I miss getting so many free books. That was great. I still get a few. I actually get offered them pretty much every day of the working week from self-published authors and stuff like that. But from the big publishers, there's only a few that still send me the newsletters, and most of the time I'm not going to accept books if I'm not going to properly review them. You know, or at least I was never big on the actual reviews so much as just hauling and doing a lot of promotional stuff. And like, you know, I was a really bad booktuber in the end. Like when it comes to good, provocative conversation and stuff, I did do one on Not That Kind of Girl by Lena Dunham that I was really proud of, a proper review.
Nice.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. And I was very proud of that. But most of the time it was more just like book suggestions and currently reading videos and all that kind of stuff, which is the bread and butter of the booktube world. Like everyone just watches those. People don't really care about reviews, to be honest. But I felt like a bit of a farce not properly reviewing every single book I received. But and also because of my health, I can't always concentrate on reading very well. And that's why I've actually switched largely to graphic novels and comic books now, because, lost an earbud. Because like they're so much easier to read when my headspace isn't quite clear, or, you know, I'm feeling a little too tired to actually sit down and read a novel. A comic book is just perfect. So I'm loving that. I am loving that. And I'm going to do a lot more of that content coming up soon, so...
That's really cool. Rosiana Halsa Rojas and Sana just did a collab video where they talked about like how to get back into reading after a slump. And one of Sana's recommendations, yeah, it was a good video.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah.
And one of Sana's recommendations was to read graphic novels, read comics. That kind of like cleanses your palate. You're able to finish it relatively quickly, and then you can get back into reading a bit more long form materials.
Totally. And I've been reading a lot of nonfiction too, like you know, short stories, like, well, not short stories, short like memoir stories, and like philosophy and stuff like that. Stuff that I can just dip in and out of, and you know, I'm not so much of a I'm not putting so much of an orientation on like finishing a book and getting that like book count up, you know, the 50 book goal every year or whatever. And I just know I'm not going to hit that these days, especially with my new lifestyle of like being between two cities and doing a lot more active stuff and everything. It's like, I just don't have the time. I can read on my commute, but then half the time I just want to listen to new music on the commute. And it's like, I'm being a really bad reader these days. Really, I've got all these beautiful books and I'm just finding it so difficult. It's killing me a bit.
I mean, you saw my self-image video. I feel bad that I don't read more these days. I read a few books last year. I think I finally finished the Artemis Fowl books, and I read a couple of Discworld books, but not very many. Not very many. And I used to read voraciously, so I kind of feel bad that I lost that part of myself. But it's hard. It's I think Sana also mentioned that while she's reading a book, sometimes she will get distracted by thinking, well, I could be watching something on Netflix, or I could be watching a YouTube video. Because
totally.
Time, and you have to, and it's kind of absorbing. Like I can't. The thing for me is that I do multiple things simultaneously all the time. Like I usually have I'm watching a YouTube video while I'm doing some coding, or doing some editing while I've got some music playing. It's hard for me to just do one thing at a time. When I'm reading, that's basically what I have to do. I have to just read.
Totally, yes. That's kind of a problem with me too, like especially with the fact that I can't read and listen to music, except for like classical music, sort of soundtracks and stuff like that. But I'm just such a music person that I almost like have to be listening to music all the time. So when I have to turn it off to read, I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to keep listening to this album or whatever. And I'm just got on my iPad and the video's not working on there. Is it definitely up? Is it definitely? It says like 0 watching and this live event will begin in a few moments. Let me see. Is it definitely up on?
It's definitely live.
Oh, that's weird. Okay, as long as it's live, that's good.
It says so, and we've got Josh in the chats. I'll ask Josh if his.
Yeah, are you watching anything?
It would be silly if we were talking all this time without that.
Oh, that would be so funny. Well, I'd slightly want to die a little bit, but.
Josh, can you see the video?
It's still on your channel. It still says upcoming live streams.
That's weird. I mean, we're definitely broadcasting.
It says 1 week ago, no views.
Uh-oh.
And my mom also said, yeah, live stream is starting soon. We're not on. Oh, well, rubbish. It's a dress rehearsal. It's a dress rehearsal. It's okay.
What?
Yeah, my mom said she couldn't get it to work, but I just thought that was because she doesn't know how to use her iPad properly.
Oh man, let me try stopping the broadcast and starting it up again.
Right, cool. It might be because it was like